Welcome back to the Triple Double Watch, guys. Today we got our first NFL video of the channel. We got our preseasons, rankings, predictions, all that fun stuff. Preseason's coming up this weekend. Hall of Fame game already happened. Regular season's about a month away, and we're getting excited. All the fantasy football leagues are starting up, and it's a good time. All the sports are getting into high gear.
It's about to be that time where everything's going on again.
Yep, so. Perfect time. So we're going to just kick straight off with the AFC. We're going to go through each team, talk about them some, what we like, what we don't, predict their records, stuff like that. So let's start off with the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, so I got them going 13-4. I think they're going to have a good year. I actually have them starting out 7-0 to begin the year. I think Lamar is going to have like a really good year, almost like his MVP season. So, yeah, I got them at 13-4, and maybe here and there a couple up and down I could see, but I think they'll have a good year.
I think I had them as about the top as they think their ceiling for the year. I had them at 14-3. I had them starting 6-0 or 7-0 too, I think. I think Lamar's going to have an MVP type year. Injured off and on last year. I think he avoids that this year. They get J.K. Dobbins back, which is huge. Their running back corpse was patched together all of last year. I think J.K. Dobbins is a perfect running back for this team. I worry about their wide receivers a bit, but
the Hollywood Brown trade was.
But that's not the strength of this team anyway, and I think Lamar will make plays. Mark Andrews is a great target for him. The defense is still loaded. Get them through those tough games in the division. So I got him at 14-3. Yeah. And then Justin Tucker, he's going to hit. I joked earlier he's going to hit 7-game winners. Maybe not true, but if there's a game-winning chance, he'll hit it.
It's possible, yeah. So then Cincinnati is up next, and I have them at 11-6, and I also have them on a hot start, going 8-2 to start, and then kind of hitting a little roadblock and finishing 3-4. But I think they'll have another good year. I think they'll be a wild card team, as I said Baltimore's record, so I think they'll slide into a wild card spot, and we'll get to our seedings later. But I think they've seen what they have to do, and they've been to the point where they were one game away and maybe a play away from winning a Super Bowl at this young. So I don't think they're going to be out of the playoffs anytime soon.
No, I don't think so either. And their offseason was perfect. They shored up the offensive line a little bit, which was much needed. They got a few extra defensive pieces, which is the way they were going to improve this team. I had them going 13-4, so even a little better than you did. I have them tied for the second best record in the AFC behind Baltimore. I have Baltimore being the 1 seed. Yeah, but still being a wild card. So 13-4 is also probably about the top I could see this team, but I'm high on them. I think they, once again, I do factor in the kicker just a bit in some of these close games when, the Bengals will play the Titans and these other teams in the season. Having Justin Tucker and then for the Bengals, Evan McPherson, those are money kickers, and those matter in these close games.
Fantasy.
Exactly. So I think Bengals will pull out a lot of close games this year. I think Joe Burrow is very poised now and ready for the moment. So, and I love the wide receiver and the running back core around them.
Oh, yeah,
so
for sure.
You want to go Browns next, right?
Yeah, we'll go into them.
All right, so we got Cleveland Browns. I got them at 7-10.
I got 8-9.
So this is kind of the opposite for me. I think this is about the lowest they'll be, though. I bounce back and forth a lot of games for them. I could see them being 10-7, 11-6 even. It depends on how good they do without Deshaun Watson. It depends, obviously, if he is actually coming back in Week 7. Right now, he's got a 6-game suspension.
My games factored him coming in Week 7. So
yeah, I factored that in too.
Yeah, so I went 8-9. I think they'll struggle without him. Just not much experience in the quarterback position after him. But I have him going 7-4 when he gets back. So that gets him to an 8-9. It's obviously not going to be enough to get a playoff spot in this situation, but it's obviously a much improved team with him on it. So just hope he comes back for them. So.
Yeah, I just think it'll be weird too. Jacoby Brissett is looking like the starter right now unless they make a trade, which seems unlikely. But it's just weird. Watson's case could go even into Week 1, 2, 3 of the regular season. And then it might be odd when he comes back Week 7 and Week 8. They may struggle even when he comes back. I don't love the receivers they have around him and the tight ends. I don't think they have the best weapons. They have a great running game with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb, but I don't know. They have a tough schedule too.
Yeah, so
the division's brutal.
If he comes back week 7, they have Baltimore week 7.
Exactly.
And then week 8, they would have Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And then week 9 is when they got a bye week, I believe. A bye week, and then maybe that's the point he finally.
I know.
Gets some more
that's
time,
kind of what I thought when going through.
I actually have him beating Cincinnati week 8, but it's close, So
I mean, I like Jacoby Brissett, but I don't see him leading them to anything more than 3-3 at the most. So it's going to be an interesting team, but yeah, I have them. Definitely.
Yeah, and then this is our first huge difference, I believe. I'm very low on Pittsburgh. I think Mr. Trubisky will be all right, but I think Pittsburgh, I have them at 3-14. I think they'll end up using all 3 of their quarterbacks at some point.
Yeah, that's very possible.
They'll go through Trubisky, Rudolph, and Pickett. So
if they weren't going to use one of the
14,
3,
they would have a top 6 pick for me in this scenario. So
if they weren't going to use one of the 3, who would it be? Probably Rudolph.
I think Rudolph would be the third option.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's very possible. I have them at 6-11. The defense is still solid. It's nothing spectacular anymore, but it's solid. It'll keep them in games. Mike Tomlin's a great coach. He finds a way to win some of these.
That's kind of why I don't like them being that low on my list. But game by game, I just feel like there's not a game you can go in, very few that you can go in and be like, yeah, they definitely could win that.
Exactly. So, I think Mitch Trubisky has some potential, but by no means is he going to win you a game.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have his targets are Claypool and
Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
So it's a solid one, too. And then Najee Harris is really good. I expect him to be even better.
That's another reason that's a little low, but I just like
their schedule's brutal, too. And with that division, I mean, that could be an 0-6 just in their division easily. So, yeah. But I had 6-11, but still nowhere near sniffing a playoff spot. So.
All right, well, then that gets us into the AFC East. I have Miami on my list first, but let's get into our team. Let's get into the Patriots first.
Okay,
both Patriots fans.
Weird how that works.
Weird. It is weird. It's the one of this, other than the local Cardinals, this is like the only team we both like that's like no real connection to our area.
Yeah, I mean, but I kind of bandwagon Tom Brady as a kid, but I also
my reasoning was kind of stupid. When I was little, I thought our local high school was they were the same.
Yeah, so I tied that into. I was like, that's my excuse for. I feel like I'm obligated.
I was a young dumb kid, and I didn't know there was a difference between the Massac Patriots and the New England Patriots.
Well, if you go watch the Massac Patriots, you'll see some differences.
A little bit. Anyways, I got us going 9-8. I think it's gonna be a very inconsistent year. I think I'm gonna struggle to find like go-to guys on the offense at least. Like, obviously, I think Damian Harris is really good, but past him, the running back's not deep. The receivers are iffy.
I like somewhat love every receiver we have, but don't like overly love them. You know what I mean? Like, I like them all if they were our wide receiver 2 or 3, and all of them may be our wide receiver like who I don't know who our wide receiver 1 is.
It's gonna be weird, and right now we don't have an offensive or defensive coordinator, so it's obviously I heard that somebody is gonna probably be the offensive play caller, but we don't technically have a named coordinator, so it's Bill Belichick right now. But I did have a note down that we get to play Thanksgiving this year, and that's going to be pretty cool to see. And I have us winning a very close thriller over the Vikings. So
I did not have us winning that one.
I have us winning it on the road on
We'll get
Thanksgiving.
into the Vikings.
We will. So let's move on to. I got Miami on my list first, so we'll go to them next. I got them 7-10. I think they're going to be overhyped a little bit. I think it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for them to gel the offense, and the defense is just
Yeah.
So I got them 7-10. I mean, I think they lose. I think they go 3-3 in the division, And then other than the Jets in the division, there's
there's no cakewalk.
Definite cakewalk. So
yeah, I don't know if I said I had Patriots 10-7. I got Dolphins 7-10 also. I don't like when a team feels one-dimensional like the Dolphins do. I don't think they have much of a running game.
it's a lot of just guys that have done well in other places thrown together. It feels like,
and it never really.
It's like Raheem Mostert.
Exactly.
Guys like that.
And I like those guys, but it seems tough. It feels like a team that is going to have to pass it a lot, and I don't think they're, it's not, you don't have Aaron Rodgers, you don't have Tom Brady where you could just pass it if you wanted to. Tua would be perfect in a very balanced offense, and this doesn't feel like that still.
Ironically, they got Tyreek Hill. I think he would be better suited in the new Chiefs offense.
Yeah.
You got guys like Kelsey that you can drop across the middle. Mm-hmm. You got Juju can run shorts.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like he would be great with an offense like that.
Yeah.
Other than Tyreek's going to need a boom half the time.
Big time. So.
Yeah, I think so. We both got 7-10 there.
And then you want to move to our consensus AFC East winner?
We're going to flip the script here. We go from 7-10, very mid, to I got a Buffalo team at 15-2.
Woo.
I think it's going to be the best record in the NFL, and I think there's a quarterback on the team that's going to do really good this year. So.
And let me guess, his name is not Mitchell Trubisky.
No, he's not on the team.
He's gone. So it's Josh Allen.
Yeah. He's pretty good.
He's pretty good.
Football thing. We got a quarterback ranking list coming out in a couple days, so go ahead and tune into that when it's out. And I had him at 4 on that.
I think I had him 3.
So I definitely think he can come in and have another jump. Like, it's crazy to say that.
Yeah.
But I feel like he could have another jump this year.
Well, I felt like he was even better in the postseason than he was the regular season last year, which is crazy. I have him going 13-4. Their schedule's just really difficult. Which 13-4 is still
schedules.
Yeah, it's still amazing. But you do have to,
obviously the ceiling 15.
Yeah,
it's be crazy.
You do have to go to New England and to Miami. Those are no gimme games. They have to play other teams like the Ravens and the Chargers and some of them.
Got the Rams.
Yeah, Rams and the NFC. They have to play that whole division of Rams, Cardinals, 49ers. So that's a brutal stretch too. But I think they get through a lot of them. I think they take care of business in all the easy games, as you definitely have them taking care of business in all the easy ones. But they got even better. The defense looks amazing now with the signings they made on defense too. And
I'm going to find my losses for them, actually. I have them all on here.
But signed Von Miller.
Yep, like that.
And defense looks amazing now. They drafted a running back, looks good. The wide receiver is as deep as they've been in years. So
we got them losing Baltimore week 4, so that's one. And then I think the other one's later in the year. Might take me a second. Got a lot of games, so we went through and did every single game. At least I did. And then Green Bay week 8. So Baltimore and Green Bay, it's my only 2 losses for them.
That's a pretty good season. If those
and even Green Bay is at home, and Green Bay, you don't know. I
think I had those
taking a
2,
shot in the dark on them. So.
And I had like the Pats winning at home versus them. So, but now we'll go to the dwellers of the division.
You talk about flipping the script. I went from 15-2 to 1-16 here.
Whew, rip the Jets.
Yeah, number 1 pick, only one win team.
I do have a 1-win team, but it's not them.
Yeah, well, I don't see any bright spots, and even I just
Zach Wilson,
who ranked 34th out of 32 starting quarterbacks.
Yeah, but like he's in the and Joe Flacco, honestly.
Yeah,
what you know about Joe Flacco?
But yeah, I got him going 1-16. I don't see any bright spots at all in this team, but the bright spot is they might get a number 1 pick.
Yeah, they're going to need it. I got them going 3-14. I don't really know where that's pick-wise. It's definitely a top 5 pick in mine. It might be like 3 or so.
Yeah.
But, no bright spots. They got some nice – I liked their draft this past year a lot. But it's not going to – rookies aren't going to carry you to wins in the NFL. So,
anything, really.
That's about it. So
Yeah, there's not much to talk about. Not much to talk about this one either. I got Houston up next.
yeah, we're moving to the AFC South now. We'll go Houston.
I got them
first.
2-15. I got multiple teams in this division going 2-15. If you can't tell who the two are, you don't watch football. But I got Houston 2-15, and the only note I have is that's a top 4 pick. I mean, there's also no bright spots here for me.
Yeah, I got Houston 2-15 also. Davis Mills looked all right at times last year. I think he's getting a little overhyped going into this year. They don't have a good wide receiver core. Their starting running back may be Rex Burkhead. That's not good at all. He's third string running back on more than half the teams in the NFL.
Yep.
The defense is not good. It's just I don't think it's going to be good. I think I had them beating one of their wins. I think I had them beating the Browns actually. Because I thought that would be funny.
I know for sure that one of them is Jacksonville, but I'm not sure. I think it's late in the year, both of them. One of them's the Giants. They're going to beat the Giants week 10, and the other one's Jacksonville week 17 at home. So
we'll move into Jacksonville now.
Yeah, well, I would hate to move there right now, but
that's where we're going.
we're gonna go there.
So you had them 2-15.
I had them 2-15. My notes are top 4 pick, and I think Trevor Lawrence might struggle a little bit again. So
I'm actually I'm high on Trevor Lawrence this year, year 2. I have him going 6-11, which is still by no means good, but it's above the dwellers of the league. And my thought process behind it
it's not Clown Town.
It's not Clown Town. My thought process.
You said it wrong. It's Clown Town, not Clown Town. Don't pronounce it like that.
Hey, that's on me.
Clown Town. Shout out Pat. Anyways, 6-11.
I liked the draft they had.
Yeah.
I liked the pieces they signed. Evan Ingram
pick at 1,
and who was a wide receiver they signed? They signed someone.
Christian Kirk. Right?
Yeah. Not a good contract.
No, it was.
But
4 years, 72.
But he's on your team at least to help the offense. I like the running backs they have. The defense is all right. And honestly, I think getting away from all the jazz that was Urban Meyer last year is going to pick them
I do like
a
their
few more
running backs. I still like Robinson, but they also have ETN.
Exactly. So I think healthy running back core. I like Doug Peterson as a coach. I think he picks them up some more wins. They get out of the dweller status and get some momentum going.
I do have a lot of close division winners or even ties, but I feel like this will be one of the best divisions to watch the top 2 go at it all year.
Yep.
And we'll start with Indy first, who I have winning.
I do have them winning too.
I have them at 11-6. Winning.
I also have them 11-6.
I think they're going to have the number 1 defense by the end of the year. Woo. I think they're going to have the number 1 running back by the end of the year, leading rusher, and Jonathan Taylor. So
crazy.
I think they'll go 11-6. Originally we were going through these lists. I had him at 7-10, and I don't know. I
mentioned to him Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about Matt Ryan.
Who'd you think was starting?
I don't know. I had Wentz in my head, but then I was like, well, Wentz is in Washington, and I guess I just didn't put 2 and 2 together. But Matt Ryan, I was like, oh, well, that'll get a couple more wins. So redid my list, and yeah, I think 11-6 is maybe the ceiling. 12-13 might be a ceiling, but I think this close to the ceiling is 11.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got him 11-6.
Yeah, I think Matt Ryan, veteran presence, helps this team. Jonathan Taylor's a beast. The defenses were really, really good and got even better than last year. And they have a relatively easy schedule. They didn't win the division last year, so they don't have to play the other division winners from last year. And then obviously they get to play the Jags and the Texans 4 times. So I think they pick up a lot of wins along the way. And yeah, I got 11-6, win the division too.
Yeah, so 1 game back is where I got Tennessee at 10-7.
I also have Tennessee 10-7.
Yeah, so I'll get into my note on them later. But 10-7, definitely looking for a wild card spot there. It's close. Mm-hmm. I'll get into that later. I'll explain. But
same for mine. Yeah. Mine got even.
Yeah. So I think it's gonna be a weird year for them. I was way higher on Tannehill last year than I am this year. not for any particular reason. If Derrick Henry stays healthy, I mean, you're looking good. But again, if he gets hurt for even a few weeks, what are you gonna do there? So, yeah, and trading away A.J. Brown, just a weird one. I still think they'll be solid. I got them getting 10-7, obviously, but
Well, that was what I was going to mention. Is to me, it's been felt like throughout Tannehill's career, he needs weapons, which there's nothing wrong with that. Every quarterback is better with weapons, obviously. But he wasn't great at some years in Miami when they had nothing. They added a piece or two in the year Miami was good. They got better. Last year they were really good. Tannehill was pretty good in the regular season. But losing A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, who wasn't huge last year for him by any means, but still a piece, I feel like they don't have great wide receivers, which is going to hurt Tannehill directly, and then indirectly, I think a lot more teams are going to load the box even more than they already did. You saw a lot of 7-8 man boxes against Derrick Henry. That might be a 90% occurrence now almost. I mean, so you shut down Derrick Henry early in the game, I think it gets really tough on some of these tough games that the Titans have to play. They have a harder schedule than the Colts because they won the division last year, and so I think they lose some of these close ones and they only go 10-7.
Yep. So. Well, we have the same records for the top two.
Yep.
Now, this is the interesting division.
Yeah.
This is the best division of football right now, in my opinion.
I think so, too.
Obviously.
Well, no, I actually had NFC West, but yeah.
NFC West over the AFC West?
I think so.
Do you like Arizona, Seattle, San Francisco, and the Rams better than...
Well, you take out Seattle. I think.
Yeah, but you can't do that.
I think 1, 2, 3. They're better than the AFC West 1, 2, 3.
I don't.
It's close, but
you can't. If that 4 matters.
Yeah, it does. But I was also
we also have different
lower on this
here.
one team. I'll explain.
Yeah, we'll get into them first. Denver, we're far different here.
This was probably the biggest difference we had, I think.
I have them at 11-6. I think Russell Wilson's going to come in and be great. I think he's going to be similar to Stafford coming into L.A. It's just a new place. He's got more weapons. They've got great receivers, I think, if they can keep them all healthy. Yeah, I just feel like it's a new place, and I got them going to the playoffs for the first time since they won the Super Bowl and Super Bowl 50. You don't.
I don't. And I could totally see 11-6. But I went through it. I went through it twice. I went through it 3 times. And I still came out to 5-12, which it feels ridiculous, even me saying it to myself. But some of the reasoning is I worry about the receivers a bit. Tim Patrick already got injured for the year. One more injury like that and the offense could, be in shambles. I don't think the defense is great anymore. It's not bad by any means, but I really don't like their matchups in the division. I don't think they match up well against any of the other 3 teams, Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs, in the division. I could easily see, it probably won't happen, but I could see them going 0-6 in the division.
I think I had them 2-4 or 3-3.
Okay.
So I don't have them winning the division games, but outside of that, I mean, it's not anything crazy that they have to go against.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they might legitimately go 0-6, and then at that point you play 500 outside of your division. It's only 5-12. So I don't know. That's where I ended up.
Okay, well, that's our big difference there. We don't differ here, and this is going to be a little wild. Kansas City, I have 9-8.
I had 7-10,
and that would be the first time they missed the playoffs since 2014.
Yeah.
So I think the offense might be a little bit down. I don't think it's going to be crazy down. My reasoning for 9-8 is the division.
Well, and I think the defense is terrible.
The defense is not great, and the division.
Yeah.
I think they easily could go. You said the Broncos could go 0-6. I think they could easily go 0-6, maybe 1-5.
Yeah.
I don't know what I had them.
I'm pretty sure I had the Chiefs going 2-4 in the division.
Yeah, I'd probably
only
had
beating
something
the
similar to
Broncos.
that. So, yeah, obviously they have Patrick Mahomes, who is a top 5 quarterback still, still young, so he could do plenty. But I think Tyreek Hill is a huge loss. I think the offense is going to have to get adjusted to a way different look, in my opinion. And like you mentioned, the defense is not great. So,
yeah, I don't know. The division's crazy. Their schedule's crazy too. They won the division last year, so they have a brutal schedule. And I feel like this is a team that one mistake might derail a whole game, especially with the defense. And so I just don't think they win these close ones. I will say, side note, back to the Broncos real quick. I don't know how their schedule is this difficult considering they were 4th in division last year. But they have an easy first 2 weeks, which I think I had them winning both. But then they go San Francisco, Las Vegas, Indy, Chargers. Then they get an easy Jets and Jaguars. But then after the bye week, Titans, Raiders, Panthers, Ravens, Chiefs, Cardinals, Rams, Chiefs, Chargers. That's not a single.
I just think they can
and they'll
handle
find some
those.
wins for sure. I
think they can handle all of those decently.
Yeah, so
win at least 50%.
So yeah, let's get into Las Vegas now.
Oh yeah, K-Dog's gonna like this one.
Yes, sir.
So
we're high on them.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's not.
Maybe we're like the consensus on them.
Yeah, I could easily see them getting more wins than what I have them, which is 11-6.
I also have 11-6.
If you recall, I also had another team going 11-6 here. Denver.
Oh.
I also have them going 11-6, so tying for the. Well, I haven't said the Chargers record, but tying for the lead. I'll say it. Tying for the win, and then I have Vegas winning the tiebreaker. I think that was head-to-head. But they might have split. I don't know. They win a tiebreaker. I've done the tiebreakers. I've run it through plenty.
Algorithm.
So I have them winning that. I just think Carr and Adams are going to thrive together. It's going to be cool to see. I'll throw this in there. I think Josh Jacobs ends up traded before the deadline.
Wow.
So,
I can see that. New coach, new all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If he doesn't find his place.
Decent running backs behind him.
Kenyon Drake, the rookie.
Yep.
I forget his name, but they drafted a rookie who looks pretty good.
Yep. So, Josh Jacobs, I think, gets traded, and I think Carr and Adams thrive. I mean, you got pieces like Waller, Renfro still there that are great. I mean, top 3 in their positions, arguably. So, I got them 11-6, and that's probably my floor almost, maybe about middle.
Yeah, 11-6. I could see as high as 13, which is stretching it, but I could see 13. I don't see lower than 9, and I don't expect 9 either. I expect 10 to 12, realistically.
Yep.
I think this is a top 5 offense, honestly. I've always been pretty high on Derek Carr. You know, even 2 or 3 years ago, there was talks of, like, is he the quarterback for the Raiders? I always thought he was pretty good. And I always thought he didn't have the right weapons. And now Renfro has stepped into a big role. Waller is that guy now. And now you add Devontae Adams. And so along with the running backs, whether they keep Josh Jacobs or not, I think they have good running backs. And the ground game will be solid. I think it's a top 5 offense. I worry about the defense a tad. It's not bad by any means, but it's not
they made
game-changing.
Moves there
they
too.
did. I still don't know if it's going to be like game-changing, though. I don't know if they can force the big turnover at times and stuff like that. When they play some of these tougher teams like the Chargers, Ravens, Bengals, others like that. But overall, I think they'll be a really good team, and they'll definitely get a playoff spot. So,
yep. All right, so that leaves us the last team in the AFC, the Chargers.
Yep.
They, I think this is probably about the middle for them too. I got them 10-7. I just don't. I like Herbert, but I don't love any other offensive piece. Like, I like Eckler, but it's just nothing stands out as much as some of these other teams in their division and definitely in the conference does. So,
yeah, I actually have them winning the division, and I got them at 13-4, which is definitely their ceiling. But I think they've been building something every year, a little bit more and more these past couple of years. And I felt like last year they got unlucky in a lot of close games. There was a time they were a 500 team. It felt like they should have been 8-4 or whatever. The offensive pieces don't absolutely go off the charts, but I like that it's the same pieces that they've had for 3 years. I like it's still Eckler. I like that it's still Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
They still have Mike Williams, right?
I think so.
I like that it's still him. And I think the defense is really, really good. I like the corners they have. I think Joey Bosa is going to have an off-the-chart year. And I think they have the type of defense, when I was comparing to the Raiders, that will make those, pick six or, just a big interception, big sack on third down type plays that will win you some of these close games in the division. So,
yeah, well, I got them third and 1 game out of winning it, so it's possible. So we're done with the AFC. We'll get to our playoff stuff later at the end. But we'll roll into the NFC and start with the North, and we'll get to Logan's team. We went through K-Dog, so let's get to the Bears up in Chicago. Where do you got them?
Not good.
I don't either.
It's not good. It's even worse than last year.
Oh. What was last year?
I think they had 5 wins.
Well, I do have them worse than that too, but
I think. Might have just been 4. Even if it was 4, I have it worse than that. I have them at 3-14.
Oh.
So
I have them at 4-13, but I think Justin Fields will improve.
I do too. But it's not really about that for me. I don't like nearly anything else on this team, honestly. I don't
love anything either, but
I don't like their weapons around Justin Fields. I still think their offensive line is below par, which is not going to help a guy like Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And the defense is all right, I guess.
All right.
They won't be a bottom 5 defense, but they're certainly not going to be good. So.
Yeah. Well, another team that I don't think is good in this division, but this is going to be JJ's first.
High on. This is my bandwagon team of the year.
Oh boy. So I have Detroit going 5-12, and my only note, well, I have 2 notes. I think they'll lose close games, so I'll give them that. I think they'll compete. Similar to last year, it took them a lot. They were like the last winningless team, but they were close in a lot. And I did give a note that I think they're going to give Buffalo, the 1 seed in the whole NFL, a run for their money on Thanksgiving. I think it'll be a close game.
Yes, sir.
But they're going to lose that.
They're probably, yeah.
They're going to lose that.
They're going to lose.
So that's my only notes. I got them 5-12, so let's hear it.
The Detroit Lions will be a winning football team this year. Like a winning record. They're going 9-8. And I actually kind of believe it. That wasn't me memeing it when I went through the schedule. I think Jared Goff is solid. He's not a star, but he's solid. I really do love the whole entire coaching staff they have over there. And
I'll give you that one.
You look at their first, was it like 0-11 they started?
Or something, and then they tied to, they didn't even
exactly.
Finally tied it.
But some of the losses in their 0-11 were heartbreaking losses. Like multiple, like 4 or 5 of them.
I think it's going to be
the Justin Tucker 65 or 4, whatever it was, yard field goal.
I thought it was like 66 or 7.
Yeah, because it was yeah. So I just think some of those don't happen this year.
I think they do.
Year 2 of Jared Goff I love their coach. I can't think of his name now.
I also can't remember his name, but I can picture him.
But if you know, you know. And I don't know. I think they take care of the Bears both times. They have an easy schedule because they were a bottom dweller last year. And I think any of these games that you see against the Giants or Seahawks, I don't know if they even play them, but teams like that, I think they take care of them.
Well,
and so
I will say I think their bright spot will be their draft pick, Aiden Hutchinson. So
yeah, 100%. And I think their defense is all right. I think it'll be right around average, I think, with adding Aiden Hutchinson. It's a decent secondary. Linebackers I worry about, but I think they'll figure it out. I think they go 9-8. So that's my bandwagon of the year.
There it is. Oh, there it is. All right. We'll move on to Green Bay. I'm higher than a lot of people are with the recent moves. So I went 14-3. I think it's Aaron Rodgers. That's all you really need. You got Hall of Famer Allen Lazard. You got still got Aaron Jones. You got
And A.J.
A.J.
Dillon.
Dillon.
That's a 1-2. That's a really good one, too.
Yeah, A.J.
sure.
Dillon, arguably better. I think they still got enough. I mean, it's Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't need, anything crazy. Like you mentioned that Ryan Tannehill does need these guys. I don't know if Aaron does.
Absolutely, I don't think. Yeah.
So I got him 14-3, which is definitely my ceiling for him. But yeah, I think they lean on the running game more, and obviously lean on Aaron Rodgers most. So
What would your floor be for him?
I don't think they're lower than 10 wins.
Okay, so yeah, I have them 11-6.
So
And I think Rodgers will still be good. I think just
good.
Well,
Back-to-back
just because of the indirect or the direct effect of the wide receiver pieces, it'll drop his numbers slightly. I still think himself will be great, but his numbers will only look good when it's all said and done. They lost some pieces on defense.
Well, let's just say there's a glaring reason I don't have them going for the 3-peat this year.
And their schedule's really difficult too. Like I said, they won the division last year. They got to play a lot of tough teams. And combined with their defense and no special playmakers on offense, I don't think they win a lot of these games against the Buccaneers and the Cardinals and stuff like that. So I only got 11-6.
All right. Then the last team in their division is Minnesota, who I have going 8-9.
Ooh, that's tied for our second biggest difference.
Yeah.
So,
I got them 8-9. I don't know. Obviously, that's close to my floor, going game by game. I'd say my ceiling would be 11 or 12, but I think 8-9 is about middle to low. But I don't know. I just don't. I'm not a huge Kirk Cousins guy. I'm not saying he's bad, but I'm not huge on him.
Yeah, I can see that.
I understand they have pieces still in Dalvin and Jefferson and Thielen, but
yeah.
I don't know. I do have wrote down a little tidbit that I think they move on from Cousins after this year.
If they go 8-9, I see that for sure. I could see that for sure, but I see them not moving on from Kirk Cousins because they're winning the division at 12-5. I think it might be just refreshing for them to have a coaching change after all these years. I do like Kirk Cousins. I don't overly love him, but guys like Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson will make you look really good when you're back there. And if Dalvin Cook stays healthy for the whole season, he's a top 5 running back. I think the defense is pretty solid too. They have an easier schedule than last year. I was looking at their schedule too. They have one that's you could really get on a roll. And I think it's one of those they may not go 10-7 or 9-8. It may be one of those where they have some really tough defeats that brings them down to 8-9, or they get some really big wins that gives them momentum to go 12-5. That's kind of how their schedule's lined up. It's a couple hard ones, you get through them, then you got a lot of easy ones, and then a couple hard ones. But overall, I think they get through some of those. I think they split with the Packers, and they go 12-5. So
there's a big difference.
Yep.
So moving on to the East, NFC East, I'll start with Washington. I have them at 7-10. So you got Chase Young coming off a significant injury. You got a new quarterback who I think's on his last shot, and with this 7-10 record, I have noted that Wentz will be a backup quarterback next year for a team. Unless there's just some team that still has nobody that they trust, you could go get Wentz now. Yeah, but I think he's run through a couple teams now, and it's if he's on this, I think I mentioned this in the quarterback thing. Maybe this might be his last shot. And if they go 7-10, I think that'll be his last shot for a little bit.
Yeah, so I got him at 10-7. I think Wentz will be.
No, that's not my ceiling for them.
Yeah,
but I think that's realistic.
I think Wentz will be just about as good as he was last year, which means pretty average. But I think this Washington team is pretty good on defense. They have decent offensive pieces around him. The Washington and Indy feels like the almost the exact same team to me. Like, at least as construction-wise, they're going to hand the ball off to Gibson a lot. He's not as good as Jonathan Taylor, but he's really good. Washington has pretty good pieces, Terry McLaurin, and then a few guys, kind of the same way with the Colts last year. So I think all in all, Wentz has about the same season, and they get about the same record at 10-7 in a relatively easy division too.
Yeah.
Depending on the Eagles. The Eagles are a huge wild card, I think, this year, which we'll talk about.
Who I have next.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Jalen Hurts guy. I mean, I'm not against him by any means, but I think they're gonna have a great year. I'm going 12-5, and this was one of the funny ones that I have them tied with Dallas. I also have Dallas 12-5, and the tiebreaker goes down to the fourth procedure of tiebreakers, which is common games. That's where they finally lose the division. You go from head to head. Where is it? Division first.
Head to head first.
Head to head,
and then division.
Then division.
And then conference.
Then conference. They were tied on all three of these when I went game by game. All three tied. So the fourth one was common games, and they finally lost that one. So I think it's a really good year. You tie for the division, end up losing the tiebreaker, and they tying for another thing that I'll mention earlier. But 12-5 is probably my ceiling. Could easily see them around 9-8, maybe for a floor 8-9. But I like 12-5. I really do.
Yeah. So this is the one where I would definitely bump up a game or two if I went through it again. But I did these one run and didn't change them, and I had them at 7-10. And that's the absolute floor. I will 100%. That's the floor. And some of the 7-10 is because in my mind I think I had a Carson Wentz revenge game both times Washington played him, so that was 2 L's for him. But what's weird is I had Jalen Hurts higher than you in the quarterback rankings, which you'll see soon.
Yeah.
And yet you have him way higher than me.
I think it's more than just him.
It definitely is.
Brown. I like him outside of that. So.
Yeah, it definitely is, and nothing about this team really scares me, but I do worry about the defense a bit. I don't know. I just think it's another team too where I feel like one injury could derail them bad. I don't think they're super deep on offense if somebody like A.J. Brown were to go down for a significant time. The running back situation's weird too. They start Miles Sanders every year, it feels like, the past 3 years, but then he ends up having a timeshare. It kind of looks like right now he might already be in the timeshare going into the season. I think that might be an odd dynamic. I think I know when I did it too, I had him getting off to a slow start at 2-5 and then picking it up from there. So 7-10 is what I have. But that's the floor, I will admit.
I think I'm close to the ceiling, so.
Yeah. They'll fall somewhere between, more than likely.
This is probably my ceiling for the Giants. 2-15. I'm just kidding. Not the ceiling, but
imagine
2-15. What I have the Giants.
Hopefully the floor. Hopefully.
Floor might be 0 now.
But it's the
2-15. My only note is the top. They would be a top 4 pick. I don't see any huge right spots here either. I mean, he's still got Saquon, but it's just so injury prone, it feels like, at this point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 2-15 is what I got him at.
Yeah, I was generous in a lot of bad team versus bad team games they have and gave them the win in most of them.
Yeah.
And so it ended up falling at 5-12. Ceilings maybe 6, honestly. And so, yeah, nothing much to say. I don't think Daniel Jones is good. I just don't. There's been some hype around him going into some years. I think it's time for them to already look for a replacement. He was drafted too high to begin with, and the high expectations haven't helped him, I don't think, as a quarterback. And
New York hasn't helped him.
No, not at all. And I don't.
Or New Jersey were.
And he could be the best backup in the league for the next 10 years almost, but I just don't think he's somebody you can rely on game in and game out. So
yeah. Well, a guy that I can rely on game in and game out is Dak Prescott, I believe. I have them going 12-15 and winning the tiebreaker.
12-15.
Yeah, or 12-5. 12-5, good one.
That's a crazy season.
I seen the 2-15 right above them.
Yeah,
so
gotcha.
12-5. That would be a 27 game.
27 games.
12-5, winning the tiebreaker that I mentioned earlier, the fourth procedure for common games with Philadelphia. I like them. I will say I don't think Zeke is going to be the starter the whole year.
I think it'll be pretty much a timeshare, honestly.
I think he's going down.
And
out.
Tony Pollard looks really good.
Yeah, so,
really good.
Obviously,
draft him high in fantasy.
They've been in the news for their receivers. They need to get somebody.
Signing Terrell Owens tomorrow.
Need it.
Signing me.
Still got CD.
That's.
Who's the other one? There's another one. Is Cedric Wilson there, or does he get hurt?
I think he got hurt or left. One of the two, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Well, I still think they have enough. They got Dak. They got running backs.
Offensive line's really good
I
still
think,
too.
So. Yeah, I got them 12-5, not 12-15, and winning the division by tiebreaker.
Yeah. I got them at 11-6. If they sign me to their practice squad tomorrow, I got them 12-5.
That won't affect anything.
I will be the 6'5" Julian Edelman they need.
Oh, good.
But
no disrespect, Julian Edelman like that.
I love Julian. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a good season, not a great season. I don't expect them to do a whole lot in the playoffs, honestly, but they'll be there again. So.
All right, so the NFC South, I'll put it out there.
It's the worst division for me.
Well, that's not what I was going to say.
Oh.
This is actually contrary to what I'm not. The records might not say it, but this is the division that I'm probably higher on every single team than everybody else.
Oh.
So, starting off at the top, Tampa Bay, I have it 14-3, and that would be the second best record in the NFL. And I have them starting out 8-0, and those are some good wins in there. So let me go through the first 8 weeks. They beat Dallas on the road week 1.
Okay.
They beat New Orleans on the road week 2.
I like it.
They beat Green Bay at home week 3.
I like it.
They beat Kansas City at home week 4.
They're poverty. So.
They beat Atlanta at home game 5.
Yeah.
They beat Pittsburgh on the road game 6.
That's free.
They beat Carolina on the road week 7. And they beat Baltimore at home on week 8.
I think that's where I had them losing. Is week 8. I think I
have
them
them losing week
7-2.
9 first game. It's the Rams at home.
Okay.
So that'd be an interesting game. So yeah, I have them starting out 8-0, and then losing week 9, winning week 10, by week 11, I believe. So finishing 14-3. So I think I could even see them going 15-2 possibly. I don't know if 14's the ceiling.
Yeah.
Still really good. I mean, it's you got Tom Brady on your team, you've got a shot at the Super Bowl.
And they had who'd they just sign? Well, they just signed Julio.
Yeah.
So hopefully he has a bounce back season.
And he doesn't even have to play a huge role, which is great.
I believe they're getting Chris Godwin back at some point in the season.
Should be.
So,
I think so.
And if they get all 3 of them with Mike Evans.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So
lose Gronk.
And then when Gronk comes back week 8.
Gronk's officially, I feel like, officially.
I like their other tight ends too. So
I got them 14-3.
Yeah, I think I have them at the floor. I got them 12-5, which is still a great season. It wins the division. To me, Tom Brady just kind of cruises in the regular season sometimes now, and so I think some of these big games he might struggle in just 1 or 2 and lose some of them. Only 12-5, and I think that's fine in my postseason. Then that's still good enough to get the 2 seed, and if that's the case, they're completely fine with that. So.
Yeah. So there's another team I'm semi-high on. I think this is not even my ceiling for them. The Saints, I have it 10-7, and I could see them 12, probably the ceiling. The floor might be 7 or 8. I mean, it could be real low. But I got 10-7. I think the offense will be better. I think Jameis is going to play great. Jameis Winston. So I like him better than some people, and I got him at 10-7.
I like Jameis a lot. I still worry after multiple season-ending injuries now how good you can be. And it fell all the way to 6-11 for me, which I think is the floor. But their schedule's not the easiest. It's not the hardest. I don't love their pieces besides Michael Thomas. They do have Jarvis Landry now too, but I don't know how huge he'll be. They're both injury prone too, which would hurt them bad if one of them go down. I don't know. So far now, I have Denver 6 lower than you, and the Saints 4 lower than you, and then I have Detroit and Minnesota both 4 higher than you. So those are our big differences so far.
Detroit, bro. All right, so let's see what the difference is here. I have Carolina. I feel like I was higher on them. This is what I'm saying, record-based. I feel like I was even higher than this.
I know, I did too.
I have them at 7-10. So I'm starting at 3-9, which is part of the problem, and then ending at 4-1.
Gotcha.
I am way higher on Baker Mayfield than a lot of people.
Same.
I don't understand the slander. He was playing hurt last year, and everybody just acted like he was awful, which you couldn't be with the injuries he had and was playing through.
And it was one of those things.
We talked about
their backup quarterback wasn't better than a
we
hurt Baker.
We talked about
either.
that in the quarterback video. So 7-10 is probably my floor. Maybe a game or two lower, but
I had
that would
6-11.
be lower.
I had 6-11. That's my floor.
Yeah.
And it was another one too. When I was counting up their wins after I did it, I expected to count 8-9, 9-8, and it just didn't happen.
Didn't add up.
I think the problem was I have them losing to the Bucks twice. I think I might have had them losing to the Saints. No, I had them only lose to the Saints once, but I also had them lose to the Falcons once. So that's only a 2-4 in the division. I don't know. I think this offense has a lot of potential, though, with if CMC can stay healthy, and then Robbie Anderson and DJ Moore. That's a good one, too.
Robbie Anderson, I don't know how he's going to like it.
I know. That's what I worry about a tad, too. So I feel like the whole locker room mindset might be off a little bit, too, with almost a 3-quarterback battle. I mean, Matt Corral looks like he's the clear 3, but he seems in the mix, at least.
So today I saw something that said it's Baker's job to lose.
Yes, I saw that too. But it's just it's an odd thing. They've been cycling quarterbacks for 4 years now.
6 or 7 wins is probably my floor. The ceiling could get 10 or 11.
And I could see him sneaking into a playoff spot, 100%. But
possible.
I ended at 6-11. So.
Yeah, and then bottom of the division, another team that I feel like people are just way too low on, and record-wise, you could say I am too. But I have them 5-12, the Atlanta Falcons. I'm not insanely high on Mariota. I think he struggles a little bit, but I think they're better than some people are saying. And like we said, I mean, we go through these records, and 5-12 is probably pretty low, but that's close to my floor for them, maybe 4. But I have 5-12.
Yeah, I think Mariota was always good enough to keep a starting quarterback job somewhere. That doesn't mean he's still not in the 25-ish range of best quarterbacks, but I think he is a starting quarterback. They have a few pieces around him, nothing crazy. The defense has still got some good guys, also nothing crazy, but I had him at 6-11. So I actually had him one higher than you. But they're not going to sniff a playoff spot or anything like that. It's going to be a weird year. They're going to really decide a lot on what they want to keep in the future and stuff. So, and we'll move into the last division now, the Nfc West. So you want to go to Arizona first?
Yeah. I think they're close on mine. We'll get into the seeds, but they're close to the bottom of the playoffs for me. I got them at 11-6. Which is, I'll give it, they'll be the 7 seed for me. They sneak into the last spot. I think Kyler takes another step up, but it's going to be weird. D-Hop's out for a little bit there with the suspension. James Conner, we don't know consistently, which you'll get
Yeah.
from him. So you lose Kirk. Obviously, you weren't going to pay him that much, but I think 11-6 is pretty middle. They could go up a couple games maybe, and I think it could go down a couple. So I like them at 11-6.
Yeah, I have them at 14-3. So definitely the ceiling, but I still like the team in general. I think the defense is really, really good. I hope D-Hop is the number one wide receiver in the game when he comes back, and I still think he's got the potential to be. I think they win a lot of these close games, and like you said, I think Kyler takes a huge step. He got injured at one point, which he looked shaky from then on out. Avoid that, I think they could have a great season.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this team I don't think will have a great season. Just made the huge trade to get rid of their guy. So the Seahawks I have at 3-14, and ironically they start out at 1-14 for me before winning the last two, and those last two include Week 18 over the Rams. So I have them winning that because I have the Rams already clinched the playoff spot. So I have them losing that game because they're resting. So a very rough year. With a 3-14, they would be top 6 pick for me. So I just don't love Drew Lock enough to give him anything higher than that.
Yeah, so I have them getting the number one pick at 1-16.
So that's your one win.
That's
team.
my 1-win team. Drew Lock's nothing crazy. Chris Carson retired. Other than that, I think Rashad Penny had some nice games at the end of the year. I don't know if that'll continue. They drafted Kenneth Walker. That might be nice, but I feel like the running back offensive line's not great. That with some spotty running backs here and there, I think the offense is just going to struggle heavily. And the defense is not very good either. I think it's an easy 0-6 in the division. And
I would say so.
Yeah, and from there they're going to have to scrap together wins if they want them. I could see Drew Lock and the offense getting it together for 4-ish wins, but I'm not giving them any leeway here, any courtesy. I'm going 1-16. So
We'll move to San Francisco. I have them going 13-4 and winning the division. I think Debo will shine. I think they've got all that contract stuff out of the way now, so I think he's focused, and I think he'll shine. I think Lance is going to improve, and I think Jimmy G's going to be traded to someone around the middle of the year.
yeah. So I got the 49ers at 9-8. A little bit lower. You said 13, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's tied with our differences there. But I think Jimmy G is still better to me.
I do agree, but
And I think it's going to be really, really odd if he starts any amount of games and then gets traded, which would be weird. And he may not start week 1. I guess it's really not known still, right?
well, I've heard that I haven't seen him in training camp.
Oh, okay. So he's just in limbo still. Okay. Well,
Or even I think I saw something the other day that he was at training camp but was like working out alone.
okay.
So
Yeah. Defense is really good. It's one of those situations for me. I don't love them versus the Rams or the Cardinals. I think I have them going at least 1-3, maybe 0-4 against those teams. I think 1-3. I think I had them beating the Rams once. I didn't have them beating the Cardinals either time. I think Trey Lance is good and will be great, but year one's always tough, and it's more or less year one for him next year if he's the full-time starter. It's year one as a starter, at least full-time. So I think that's going to be rough in a division with really good defenses, with a schedule that they have to play some of these other good teams in the NFC. So, yeah, I have them at only 9-8.
All right. So, last team up is the Rams. I have them at 12-5, so I have 11 for Cardinals, 12 Rams, and 13 49ers. So 12-5 for the Rams, and I think Stafford's going to slow down a little bit. I think they won't be as explosive as they were, obviously, in last year's playoffs. They looked pretty good, so I don't think they'll be that high. So this is probably about middle. Maybe I could see 13 or 14, but
Yeah.
I think 12's about where I'll keep them.
Yep, I said on 12-5 too. Their schedule's really tough. I think they'll cruise through some of these regular season games and you're never okay with losing a game, but they're gonna lose some of these and not go, as 100% as they probably could. Still have them as a playoff team. I still have them making noise in the playoffs too. But I think Stafford might struggle here and there. It said he had some type of injury recently too, which probably won't linger too long. But maybe a slow start out the gate, and so I got him 12-5.
All right, so that rounds it out. We're gonna go ahead and get into our awards before we get into the seeding and playoffs. So we just did, obviously the main stuff. So MVP, Coach of the Year, comeback, Offensive Defensive Player of the Year, and Offensive Defensive Rookies of the Year. So let's start at the bottom. I have the Defensive Rookie of the Year. I went with Aiden Hutchinson. I think he probably should have been number one. I think he's going to be the only bright spot on the Lions, like I mentioned. So I went with Hutchinson for Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yep, I also went Hutchinson. I think he's the best player day one. I think he'll be the best player in 5 years in this draft. Detroit's obviously the best fit for him, perfect fit. I think he helps this team go to 9-8, like I said. I think he gets them to a very average defense, which is fine in the division they're in and stuff. So, yep, I like it.
All right, I went to Offensive Rookie of the Year. I went with James Cook. A little bit of a sleeper, I think.
Of the Bills, right?
Yeah, I think he'll have a pretty big role for them. Obviously, he's got other guys around him, but I think he'll find a role, and I think they're one seed in the NFL. I think he's going to be a big part, and I think he'll be the Offensive Rookie of the Year.
So I don't know how much they take into account team's record for Rookie of the Year stuff, but I have the Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker III. I think he could step in, be the number one running back day one. I think he definitely will come week 5 or 6, whether he's not or week 1. I liked him a lot in college. Might be one of the few bright spots on this team, especially because I feel like with guys like Drew Lock and Geno Smith, they're going to want to run the ball a lot. It's not going to lead to wins still, and I don't know if voters take that into play or not, but I think he could have a 1,000-yard type season. So maybe not 1,000. That's a stretch, but he could have like 800 yards, 7-8 touchdowns, and be the best running back. So.
Defensive Player of the Year, I went with T.J. Watt, who won it last year, right? So
yep. Back
to back, I guess. I'll go T.J. Watt, Defensive Player of the Year. He's a monster.
Yep, for sure.
So
can't argue with that. I went Joey Bosa, so I was high on the Chargers. Kind of related all these with teams I'm high on. I think Joey Bosa.
I mean, I'm not high on the Pittsburgh, so,
but I think Joey Bosa has a 15-sack season at least, and forces fumbles, makes big-time plays. I think he'll be there all year to lead what I think could be a top 5 defense this year. And so win the division, have a great record. I think that does matter a little bit for the Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year stuff. So I went Joey Bosa.
All right. I went with Offensive Player of the Year. I went with Jonathan Taylor. Like I mentioned earlier, I think he'll be the leading rusher.
Who won that? That was Cup, right?
I think so, yeah. Cooper Cup. So Jonathan Taylor's my pick, and you actually scratched yours off?
So I kind of forgot he was suspended 6 games. I originally had DeAndre Hopkins because, like I said just earlier, I think he'll be number 1 wide receiver in the league type stuff. Except I forgot he was suspended. Completely forgot that because I haven't had any fantasy football drafts or anything yet to see that stuff when you're drafting him and whatnot. He will not win the award, only playing 11 games. I don't think he'll be that good. So I switched to another receiver I'm very high on. That will be a top 3 receiver this year, I think, Justin Jefferson for the Vikings. Like I said, he makes Kirk Cousins look like a different type of quarterback almost at times. I think, like I said, I had the Vikings winning the division. I think Justin Jefferson's a huge part. I think he goes for record-breaking stuff this year. So, yep.
All right, so then we'll go Comeback Player of the Year. Obviously, this one's a little bit tougher to predict, but I went with Jameis Winston. Like I said earlier, I was high. I think he's going to do really good. So, coming off some major injuries, I think he's a prime candidate.
Yeah, I like that. Oddly enough, we were looking at comeback player of the year. Like Derrick Henry qualifies.
Yeah.
If I don't know how voters do that though. You know, like does Derrick Henry have to have his best season ever to be a comeback player of the year, or does he have to just have a solid? Sure. I don't know. So I just stayed away from Derrick Henry. CMC was also a candidate. Apparently, I stayed away from that one because he wasn't injured all year either, and could have even came back towards the end of the year if he really wanted to. So I went with a guy who's actually coming back, and I think will be running back 1, and that's J.K. Dobbins for the Ravens. Like I said, I think he'll be running back 1. He's a perfect fit with Lamar. He could go for a 1,000-yard season easily, I think, with how much they run the ball. He's a good threat out of the backfield, too, receiving. I think he'll just be all-around 3-down running back for him. So.
Yeah, so speaking of the Ravens, Coach of the Year, I went with Mr. Harbaugh.
Oh,
Johnny boy.
Johnny.
I just think, I had him at 13-4, leading him to a 2 seed, starting out 7-0. Lamar's going to do good. I think he's going to mold that offense better around Lamar and Dobbins, honestly. So, he's still got Andrews, but I think it's going to be a heavy run, and they're going to figure it out, and I think he'll be Coach of the Year.
100% like it. I went with Kevin O'Connell of the Vikings. I'm just super high on the Vikings. I fully don't know why. I think maybe Kirk Cousins has an elite type year for him with the weapons he has.
Funny that I went with them moving on from him.
Yeah, I know. Very high. I don't know. Like I said, maybe the different coach helps, and if they win the division, then he has a really, really strong case to get Coach of the Year. So, so that's mine.
Yeah. So, last award is the big one, the MVP, and we started earlier. Well, not started with them, but they're one of the first few. The Bills. I said this guy was going to have a really good year, and I think it's an MVP year. I think Josh Allen is going to be the MVP this year, and I think we agree.
Yeah, so we did not concur before on who we were picking, and I also picked Josh Allen. I think, we mentioned we had him 3 and 4 in quarterback rankings. I think he will be number 1 after this year. So
very, very possible. I think I had him below Mahomes, and I think he'll jump immediately this year.
Yeah, and it certainly helps that he's got a lot of tools. He's got a decent running game, and all of his running backs are good out of the backfield too. Receiving.
Still add Odell. Odell commented on Von Miller's Instagram.
Exactly.
So another piece.
So their pieces are off the charts, honestly, and his running game. It seems too that he doesn't even he's smart with when he chooses to run the ball. It seems like he could do it even more than he already does. And so I think he leads his team to a great season and is by far the best quarterback in the league.
All right, so there's our awards. We got the last part of this episode is the playoffs and the seeding. Yep. So I'll go ahead and go through all mine first. So for the AFC, the 1 seed is the Bills. We just mentioned them. The 2 seed's the Ravens.
So I had those flip-flopped. I had 1, 2, by the way.
Yeah. So those are my top 2, and then 3 was the South winner, the Colts, and then the 4 was the tiebreaker. Vegas wins the tiebreaker over Denver, and they get the 4, and then Denver gets the 5. They won a tiebreaker over Cincinnati, who both were 11 and 6, and Cincinnati's a 6, and then 7 was a tie between Tennessee and the Chargers, and Tennessee lost the tiebreaker because of their head-to-head loss with the Chargers.
Gosh.
So
I've got to be a Tennessee fan watching this thing.
So the Chargers sneak in at the 7 seed for me, and we'll get into how the playoffs go here in a second. But NFC, I have the 1 seed being Tampa Bay. I actually had them tied with Green Bay, but they won the tiebreaker. So they get the 1, Green Bay gets the 2. And then San Francisco gets the 3. There was a tie for 4 and 5, and it went to Dallas over the Rams. Dallas 4, Rams 5. Philadelphia won there was a 3-way tie, right?
Dallas
is the
4 anyway for a division winner. Yeah.
Wild card tie was Rams and Philly.
Yep.
That was the tie.
Yep.
So Philly lost the division tie because of the 4th procedure, the common games. And then they have another tie for the 5 seed, and they lose that on conference games.
So instead of going to the Cowboys, they have to go to...
the 6 would be the 3, right?
Yeah.
San Francisco.
Tough.
Yeah, so that one's, a little tough for Philly, but they get in. They get a 6.
Hey, playoffs is playoffs.
And Arizona slides in at the 7, so that means New Orleans misses out by a game in the NFC. Tennessee misses out on the tiebreaker, and New England misses out by a game, and KC loses out by a game. So, close fights there. That's all my seeding. And let you go, and then we'll get into how the playoffs will go.
Yeah, so AFC, I had Ravens 1, Bills 2. Both great seasons. 3, I had the Chargers at 13-4. 4, I had the Colts winning the AFC South at 11-6. I had the Bengals at the 5, Raiders at the 6, and then I had a tie at 10-7 for the 7 seed between the Titans and the Patriots. I had them both at 10-7. 1, 2, and 3, they all tied. Conference, common games. Or maybe that's just 1, 2 because there's no division.
Irrelevant.
Anyway, and then
that's just 1 and 2. Yeah.
the third one was strength of victory.
It's technically 3, but there's no head-to-head.
Yeah. So strength of victory, it's just how good were the teams they beat. So I had to go back through the whole schedule and count how many wins the teams they beat I had them having. Titans had 75. The teams they beat had 75 wins combined. Patriots only had 71. So congratulations, Titans.
That has got to be a tough way for us to miss the playoffs.
Yes. So Titans sneak in for the 7, according to that. Teams that are close, I actually had no one else close. So
it's just clear cut. Patriots are losing a heartbreaker.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I have them at 10-7. Patriots would be the 8 then.
Next is 7-10.
And my next is 7-10. I had no one
at 9 and 8. It's like a 3-way tie.
8-9. So that's kind of wild.
Yeah, the Chiefs at 7-10. That's still crazy.
Yeah. So NFC, I have. You had the Cardinals at the 7. I wrote this down as another note that we can look back on later. You had them as the 7 seed. I have them as the 1 seed then. And that's easily how their season could go, though, is either way. Yeah. So.
And they win it by a margin there, too.
Yeah. Then I had the Bucks and the Vikings at 2 and 3, both at 12-5. Bucks 2, Vikings 3, I think. I didn't, completely fact-check if that'd be the tie, but I kind of just assumed. Cowboys, I have the 4 seed winning the East at 11-6. Got the Rams as the best wild card team at the 5. Packers being the 6 at 11-6. And then I have the Washington Commanders sliding into the 7 seed at 10-7. Teams that are close, I got the Lions and the 49ers at 9-8.
They miss out by a game. The Lions miss a playoff spot.
But the Lions are still a winning team, and that was a winning season.
That's no shot. That's remotely close to reality.
When they go 8-9, but not 9-8, that's still a W for me. This would be interesting. I've never actually sat down and predicted every team's record. I've always internally thought, hey,
I did it for baseball this year, though.
I've always been like, hey, I think this team will be good this year. I think this, but never. So this will be good to look back on for sure. Yeah, throughout the season.
So we've went through our seeds, so now it's time playoff bracket. So for me, you want me to just go through it all to the end?
Go just AFC first.
Well, I did it by round.
Oh. Okay, that's fine. Let's do first round first.
Okay, so the 1 seeds are Buffalo and Tampa. They get a week off.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So then we move into the AFC wild card. 2 versus 7 is Baltimore versus Los Angeles.
Okay. Chargers.
We got the winner. Yeah. Well, they're the only AFC team.
Just clarifying.
Los Angeles. You want to put the winners right now? Say it as I go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Baltimore wins that one.
Okay.
Indianapolis is the 3 versus 6 seed Cincinnati, and the 6 seed Cincinnati is going to win that one.
Ooh, I like it.
4 seed Las Vegas takes on the 5 seed Denver. 4 seed Las Vegas. 4 seed Las Vegas wins the first playoff game since 2002.
Congratulations, Kendall, if you're still watching.
So that's my NFC or AFC wild card. NFC wild card. 2 seed Green Bay takes 7 seed Arizona, and they win. 2 seed Green Bay.
I like it.
3 seed San Francisco. You have them as a 1. They're not even playing this week.
Right.
3 seed San Francisco takes on 6 Philadelphia, and San Francisco wins. 4 seed Dallas takes on 5 seed Los Angeles. Rams, the only NFC Los Angeles. And 5 seed Los Angeles wins that one. So that's my wild card weekend.
There we go. So, Ravens get a bye for me in the AFC. So got the 2 seed Buffalo Bills versus the 7 seed Tennessee Titans, and the Tennessee Titans get absolutely smacked. Buffalo Bills on to round 2 or whatever, the divisional round.
Yep.
Then I got the 3 seed Los Angeles Chargers going against the 6 seed Las Vegas Raiders. And the Chargers, they've had a great season. They beat the Raiders 2 times in the regular season, but it's hard to beat a team 3 times. The Raiders get their first W also in my reality.
Let's go.
So, Raiders move on, 6 seed. Congratulations. I got the 4 seed Colts going against the 5 seed Bengals, and the Colts just don't got the firepower the Bengals have. Bengals
the
are
same
the better
matchup,
team.
just different seeds.
Yep. So Bengals will take that one and move on to the divisional round also. Going to the NFC, I got the Cardinals with the bye. Then I got the 2 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers going against 7 seed Washington Commanders. We've seen that story before. It ends bad for the Commanders. Sorry, Bucks win. 3 seed Minnesota Vikings going against the 6 seed Green Bay Packers. Vikings, you took the division from them. Congratulations. But you do not win this game.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers built for this moment because it's not the divisional round yet.
Well. All right, so moving on.
So, moving on, we got the 4 seed Dallas Cowboys against the 5 seed Los Angeles Rams. Same matchup you had, right, for 4-5?
Yep.
Same thing. Cowboys, you made the playoffs. Congratulations. That's all you're doing once again. The Rams are moving on to the divisional round.
Thing, so, moving on to the divisional round. The AFC, I have 1 seed Buffalo taking on 6 seed Cincinnati. Buffalo's going to go ahead and handle that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got 2 seed Baltimore versus 4 seed Las Vegas.
That's really weird. Okay,
4 seed Las Vegas is taking that one.
Okay.
They're moving on to the conference championship. NFC divisional round. 1 seed Tampa Bay is facing 5 seed Los Angeles, and the repeat's not happening. 2 seed Green Bay is taking on 3 seed San Francisco, and it's the divisional round. So San Francisco's moving on.
Yes, sir.
All right, so that's my divisional round.
All right, so AFC, I got the 1 seed Ravens versus the 6 seed Raiders. So the same matchup you had, just different seeds. Raiders, you're not winning, though, in my reality. Ravens are taking this one home. They got a nice little week-by-week John Harbaugh prepared for you. Lamar Jackson's legs are fresh. He's running all over you. See you later. 2 seed Buffalo Bills against the 5 seed Cincinnati Bengals. Bills, they're just on a roll, MVPing, doing MVPing type things.
We had same matchups, but like the same 4.
Yep.
But all different seeds.
Yep. So got Bills Ravens then to go to the AFC Championship. NFC side, divisional round, I got the 1 seed Cardinals taking on the 6 seed Packers. Cardinals, Kyler Murray, legs fresh too. He's running all over the Packers. They can't contain him. Cardinals, W. Moving on to NFC Championship. Then I got the 2 seed Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the 5 seed Los Angeles Rams. Rams, you're not winning back-to-back divisional rounds against Tom Brady. Tom Brady's taking you because it's at Tampa this time.
Yeah.
Wait, right? It was at LA last.
I think he was in Tampa. Anyway.
Regardless, Tom Brady's winning this one. So,
all right.
Cards Bucks in my NFC championship.
Well, my AFC championship is Buffalo, Vegas.
Okay.
NFC is Tampa and San Francisco. I've got Buffalo ending Vegas's run, and I've got Tampa ending San Francisco's run. So that sets up Super Bowl of Buffalo and Tampa Bay. What?
Do we actually do the same without concurring?
All right, did you?
So we have Bills Ravens in my
gosh.
AFC championship.
We did
The
the
Bills
same.
are going to Baltimore. Josh
There
Allen
was no concurring.
is
A good
on a
problem.
roll.
We actually did not look. That's
We
funny.
did that on purpose, too, to not. Anyway.
Yeah, JJ doesn't like us being the same, so this is...
Yeah, because, we need some...
No, we don't.
Anyway,
if this is what
Bills,
we think, then...
W, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Wow,
Congratulations.
from the NFC.
The NFC is the Arizona Cardinals versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers are going into Arizona. They're taking it home. Tom Brady's going to another Super Bowl. I got Bills Bucks in the Super Bowl as well.
So do I. And in that Super Bowl, I have the Bills winning. That's not. I don't understand. If we think the same, this doesn't.
I also have the Bills.
Oh, he does. Now, what about this? I got an MVP of the Super Bowl being Stephon Diggs.
I like it. I almost considered that, but I went Josh Allen. So.
Yeah. Okay. So
I didn't write down a score, but off the top of my head,
I'm not gonna go that far ahead of this.
I'm going 31-27.
I'll go. I think we both got solid defenses, so I'll go 24-20. 21.
Touchdown lower. You just well, I said 20, but regardless.
All right, that does it. It's a long one. Thanks for watching it all. Got a quarterback video coming out in a few days. Check that one out. We'll start doing rankings. Start getting into season. We'll do more football stuff. Basketball will be coming around a little bit after that. Baseball will be coming down to an end. It'll be fun. So
we'll probably do, once NFL gets up and rolling real good, we'll probably do a Monday or Tuesday episode every week.
Probably Tuesday.
Yeah.
Probably record it Tuesday.
Record it on Monday.
Night.
Yeah, something like that. So
you'll see it probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, that'll be fun. We'll have, MLB will still be in full swing. We'll have a weekly MLB, weekly NFL, weekly NBA, and a lot of content coming up. So be on the lookout.
Like and subscribe.
If you're here now, you better be.